business to business, business to consumer, it doesn't matter. Status and identity will help you be so much more effective and grow your business so much faster and help more people, because that is what it all boils down to at the end of the day. I'm really excited to talk about this concept of status and identity. Status and identity are almost two sides of the same coin, but they're the most powerful way to move your brand, move your product or service from where your current performance is to where you'd really like it to be and get outstanding results. Because your product or service, when positioned correctly as a way to improve someone's status or to help them achieve their aspirational identity, you don't have to sell anything, because they will want to buy from you because you are helping them get out of a place of pain or maximize a growth opportunity. So let's talk about status and identity and what they mean and how they all come together. Right before we do that, I just want to share there's really three main categories. I call it the triad of buying categories, where people experience pain or experience growth and need help. They need a product or service to help them get out of the pain or maximize their growth. And those three things are going to be relationships, health, and finances. So think about how many products and services and companies are built around helping people make more money or save more money or manage their money or whatever, or get out of debt, whatever it may be. That's all in the financial category. Then you have relationships. Just think about the unbelievable amount of products and services that help with people, help people meet other people, find a partner, have counseling if they need it. If they're in a growth mode and they're getting married, a wedding planner and a venue and a dress and all that stuff. So relationships are a ginormous category. And then the third is health. And that's either fitness and your physique, but it could be nutrition, it could be sleep habits, but it's around health. So those three, the triad, the big triad of health, relationships, and finances, I would almost guarantee your company would fit into. So even if you're a business-to-business provider and you're helping another company solve a pain problem where they can save money or make more money, then you're in the financial category. Even though it's business-to-business, you're in the financial category. You're doing consumer, like Rockbox Fitness, that is obviously clearly going to be in the health category. But it may help somebody in their relationships. If they feel more confident with themselves, if they feel more attractive, then that's going to help in their relationship, have more relationship opportunities, at least in their eyes. So really, you can put your business into one of those three, and I would suggest you do, because it'll help you with when you're choosing and you're refining your avatar, and it will also help with your messaging. So if we know that it's coming from one of those three in the triad, if we apply that to status and identity, the picture starts to become pretty clear, and you can see the power of this. I would just call it this marketing approach around status or identity. You can see the power in this approach versus, what normally was done in the past when you were selling something is talk about the features, the advantages, and the benefits, right? Feature, advantage, benefit. And here's the feature of the product, here's the advantage it offers, and here's the benefit to you. That's so 40 years ago. And it can still be effective, but compared to showing someone how you can help increase their status or achieve their aspirational identity, it's not even close. It's not even close. So let's talk about both those. Status is, most simply said, how others see you, or really better said, how you believe others see you, especially in the confines of a social group. And that could be, your power, your influence, your generosity, whatever it may, your help, whatever it may be, but in a given social group. Identity, on the other hand, is really how you see yourself. And it's the conversation that you're having in your head, and I have in my head all day long. Is the person in the mirror the person I really want to be? Is the way I'm showing up who I want to be and who I'd hope to be? Am I maximizing my opportunity as an individual? Most of the time, the answer is not 100% maximization, right? So that means there's an opportunity for a product or service to help a person achieve that aspirational identity. So first, let's talk about status. I'm going to take this all the way back to caveman days. The reason you're here and listening to this podcast and I'm making this video is because our ancestors understood the importance of status. So for those of you listening that say like, I don't care what other people think about me and I'm beyond that, I'm self-actualized, I couldn't care less what somebody, thinks or feels about me. I'm going to argue with you and say, I don't believe you, because deep down we are hardwired to ensure that we increase and level up our status. And again, that can mean different things to different people. And I'm not talking about materialism. I'm not talking about you got to wear a Rolex and drive a BMW and all that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we are viewed by our social group as a valuable member of that group, whatever social group you're part of. And that could run the gamut, of course. But way back when, in caveman days, if our status in our tribe didn't include us being a good hunter and providing for the tribe, or a good protector, or a good caretaker, or a good hunter and gatherer, a religious person, the shaman, whatever it may be for that tribe. If you didn't have some kind of status in that tribe, chances are you were seen as not needed in that tribe, and things were pretty scarce back then. So you would be kicked out of the tribe. And back then, if you got kicked out, you couldn't just go down the street and rent another apartment and find another set of friends. You were out in the cold and you died. And that means that you didn't have any offspring, which means our ancestors were not those people. They were the people that found some type of utility to add to the tribe. So they were a good hunter, or they were a good caretaker. The historian, whatever it was, our ancestors, it became deep wired into their DNA. I better find some type of status within this social group, within this tribe, so that I can survive. And our biggest driving factor is the drive to survive. It is our brain's job is to keep us alive. It's to find the scary spots and keep us out of trouble and whatnot. That is our number one thing, is our survival instinct. Well, status is part of that because of how our ancestors had to survive. And millions of years later, not a whole lot has changed. Life's a lot easier. We have a lot more choices. We have grocery stores and housing and all that stuff. But however, we still are hardwired to want to belong to a given social group, because we are social animals. And so I'll talk about how you can market using status and achieve much better results. And I'll give you an example of just two different shoe companies that do that. And then identity, on the other hand, is how we see ourselves. And again, if we're not showing up the way we'd love to show up and in an aspirational way, we probably look in the mirror and say, we're good. We're perfect just the way we are. And we could use a little help, right? Perfect just the way we are. And we could use a little help. And that little help is where a great product or a great service can help somebody achieve or fill in a deficiency they have in their life to achieve that aspirational identity. Because identity is how we see ourselves. So if we go back to status, how others see us and how we want others to see us, that's really the key, is how we want others to see us. Think about Nike and Tom's Shoes. Both are shoe companies. I know Nike has a whole line of athletic apparel and golf clubs and everything you can imagine, but they started as a shoe company, and their brand identity, their brand was all centered around athletes. And their definition of an athlete is anybody who has a body is an athlete. But what they've done by having these amazing affiliations with star athletes, Michael Jordan and the 5,000 others that they've done deals with, is that link between that amazing athlete and you buying a similar pair of tennis shoes draws the inference that if you buy these shoes and you wear these shoes, you will be a better athlete. You will be identified as an athlete, and you will have status as an athlete, as a person who takes their fitness seriously, or who is a person who's on the move and looking to be the best, because they've affiliated their brand with people who are the best at what they do. And that status is what you get by buying that pair of Nikes. Well, flip the script to Tom's shoes, which are not athletic shoes, but their drive around status and the way they sold their shoes was helping you increase your status in your social group as a person who was benevolent and altruistic, a person who wanted to help others, who was for the benefit of mankind, because I'm a good person and I want others to see me as a giving person. So I buy a pair of Tom shoes for 60 or 80 bucks or whatever, because I know they're going to gift another pair of Tom shoes to a much less fortunate person in a third world country or somewhere else are going to get the same pair of shoes that I just bought for 80 bucks. They're going to get them for free because I'm a great person. And that's how I want others to see me. So Tom's Shoes built this entire brand around raising your status as a benevolent, altruistic, giving person. Two shoe companies. One uses athleticism and the status that comes from being an athlete to sell their shoes. Another sells shoes using the desire for you to want other people to think that you're a good person and have good intentions, right? They're just using status in a different way, but it works because there's a good chance you probably have owned a pair of Nikes or a pair of Tom shoes because it works. This is a very effective technique. And this isn't manipulation by any means. This is helping people buy a product or service that meets the need of moving them up in the way they feel they want others to view them. So identity is how we see ourselves and the conversation we have in our own head, which means a lot of times a company can help us get out of a place of pain in a financial situation, relationship, or health. And I'll use health as an example here, to, a position of growth. But, we're usually in pain or growth. When you're just kind of status quo, a lot of times you won't take action as a consumer. But as it slips down into pain or grows into growth, you'll start to take action to get out of pain or accelerate that growth. And identity can be used by companies to help. And then the concept of identity can be used to help a person achieve their optimal outcome and strive towards their optimal identity, or what they feel is their optimal identity. And let's use health as an example. So Rockbox Fitness, the company that I talk about on here a lot, near and dear to my heart, is helping people achieve an identity of a person who cares about their health, cares about the people they love, which means they need to care about their own health so they can be around. You have to fill your cup before you can fill others. And, have that identity of, I want to be desired by my significant other. I'd like to be a role model for my children, whatever that may be. When we talk about identity to prospects in the franchise, we see that we have a lot higher close rate on selling memberships and helping people get in shape and become, the fit person they deserve to be, because we talk about identity. We don't talk about features, advantages, and benefits. We talk about identity. We say, look, where are you at currently? And if somebody says to us, well, look, I've just always struggled with my weight, we stop them and say, don't say that. When you say that, you're telling yourself that your identity, who you are at your core, is a person who will always struggle with their weight. Well, guess what? You're going to always struggle with your weight because that's your identity. Instead of, yeah, I'm a healthy, fit person who takes my health seriously. I just went off the rails 3 months ago, 3 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it was. But I'm a healthy, fit person. That's a different identity and will drive you towards a different result. Same thing. I'll get guys come in, guys will come in and talk about it and say, well, I'm a big guy. I'm just a big guy. Okay. Then you're going to be, for the rest of your life, a big guy, because that's your identity. That's how you're identifying yourself. Instead, if you say, look, I'm just a guy who's carried some extra weight that I'd like to get off now, and I'm ready to get it off now. Up until this point, I've carried an extra 30 pounds. I'm ready to get it off. That's a different identity than I'm a big guy. I've always been a big guy, right? And so identity, when you start to use that to market to someone, you can say, well, if you're really just a guy that has carried an extra 30 pounds, then your real identity is a healthy, fit guy, right? That's at your core, you're a healthy, fit guy who takes his health and his fitness, his physique seriously. Am I correct? Yeah. Well, we can get you there with our program. And then maybe we talk about some features, advantages, benefits, but we show him how our program, our product, our service, Rockbox Fitness in this case, can get them from an unfit person who doesn't love the identity they currently have to the identity that they want and the result that they want. So again, to kind of top and tail this, status is how we want others to see us, almost always within a social group, and a product and service can help elevate somebody's somebody's status. Identity is how we see ourselves, and most of us look in the mirror and we don't see the exact person looking back at us who we'd want to be looking back at us. And that's okay. That's just, we're humans. But a lot of times a product or service, especially when it's focused on health, relationships, or finances, can help somebody change that core identity. And identity is around, values and ethics and characteristics, but it's how we see ourselves. And when you help somebody see themselves in a different way, in a new way, in a better way, they are so much more apt to want to work with you and exchange money for your products or services that will help them achieve that ideal identity. So remember, 2 shoe companies, 2 ways to use status, both incredibly effective. Identity, in my example, was weight loss. It's helping somebody relabel their identity so they can achieve a better life, a better outcome, and you can help them do that. But when you draw a direct line, you show a direct path from where they're at to where they want to be and how they see themselves and the core of who they are, and the direct line involves using your product or service in a genuine and authentic way, of course, they're going to be ready to give you a credit card or send you a PO immediately. And this doesn't matter, again, if it's business to business, business to consumer, it doesn't matter. Status and identity will help you be so much more effective and grow your business so much faster and help more people, because that is what it all boils down to at the end of the day. So I hope this helped, lay out the difference between the two, status and identity, but most importantly, gives you food for thought on how you can position your business, your offering, so that it helps somebody achieve a higher level of status or, be the person in the mirror who they want looking back at them. Put that to work and good luck. Thank you for tuning in to the ThriveMore podcast. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes for any of the resources that we mentioned during the podcast. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you have access to the latest and the greatest. You can connect with me on any of the socials at Real Roger Martin. And be sure to check out our website, ThriveMoreBrands.com. There you'll find information on the brands we support and information on franchising. Thanks again for tuning in.